Hello, everyone. Welcome to the program. This is Sunday Politics, live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Akimale here for you in Abuja. There are a few things that happened in the presidential villa over the last few days that perhaps took the attention and got a lot of people talking. One was President Bola Tinubu reaffirming his administration's policy against the payment of ransom to kidnappers, insisting that no money was paid to rescue or secure the release of victims recently abducted in Oyo State. The president made the declaration while receiving the Olubadan of Ibadan land, Oba Owolabi, and members of his entourage at the presidential villa in Abuja, where discussions centered on security, the welfare of citizens, and ongoing efforts to combat criminality. President Tinubu maintains that security agencies remain under firm instructions to pursue criminals relentlessly and ensure that every Nigerian can live without fear. You can listen to him.
People, we refuse to negotiate for ransom, negotiate. These criminals wanted us to release from detention members of their criminal gangs that were already arrested. That was one of their conditions, outside of the money they're looking for. And we said, no deal. We are not going to negotiate with criminals. They committed murder. And we were ready to finish with their families and members of their own communities. So they go somewhere.
Says paying ransom only embodies criminal networks, or emboldens them rather, and it says the successful rescue operation was achieved through the professionalism and determination of Nigeria's security agencies. Well, President Bola Tinubu also assured that Nigerians, that his administration will continue to strengthen intelligence gathering, improve operational capabilities, and sustain collaboration among security agencies to defeat kidnapping, banditry, and terrorism across the country. He also commended the resilience of affected families and pledged that government would remain unwavering in its commitment to protecting lives and property. Well, he also directed his message to governors that they should prioritize impactful projects rather than fly over. Take a listen to how he said this.
Communicate to these governors. Today, the economy of operation is high. More the money that I'm pushing to the states, if you had it during your own time or during my time, it would have been different. They are taking 4 to 5 times their money. The past. Nobody is borrowing money to pay salaries now. Pensioners are receiving their pay and gratuity. And they should do more to, instead of fly over where there's no numeric traffic, build roads and arteries, network to really enhance the quality of life and the accessibility of the security agencies to penetrate those areas. I will be calling.
That's the moment where the president was advising governors. But he also, early in the week, met with some religious leaders where some bishops were present. The president was in defense of INEC, saying INEC is not biased and INEC is doing its job. This is how he put it.
Yes, I've seen that. The challenges are there. I inherited it. I didn't run away. I asked for this job. And I'm in it. Those who will take it from me will try. They will try. All is fair in politics. And it's equal opportunity. INEC you mentioned are neutral. They've never intimidated anybody. If political opponents are crying wolves, maybe they are afraid of their own shadows and their uncertainty in the companies they keep. Not me. I'm ready to, but I won't give them red carpet. I won't offer them the leash to tie me and rope me. No. We wrestle each other to the finishing point. That's the truth. That's fair in politics.
President Bola Tinubu speaking about INEC and their role in democratic development in the country. Well, all of this will form part of our conversation tonight. But there are those who are concerned that going into 2027, something must give and a lot of changes have to happen. The G100, a coalition of 100 prominent Nigerians, have issued an open letter titled The Doctrine of a Necessary Democratic Opposition. They're calling for the immediate unification of opposition political leaders ahead of the 2027 general election. The group is arguing that Nigeria's challenges go beyond the economy to what it describes as a deeper structural crisis of governance. They're warning that democracy is endangered when the ruling party faces no credible united alternative. They're urging leading opposition figures, including Atiku Abubakar, Peter Obi, David Mark, Sheyi Makinde, Bala Mohammed, Robbie Kwankunso, Rotimi Amechi, Ralph Aregbesola, and others to set aside personal ambitions and rally behind a single presidential candidate, common program, and shared strategy. The G100 also announced plans to convene a national council of opposition leaders within 2 weeks to forge a united front, insisting that preserving democratic accountability and offering Nigerians a genuine electoral choice must take precedence over individual political aspirations. As we saw yesterday, INEC started to release details and credentials of those who are in the race. Let me show you a list of them. 19 candidates as INEC released for the presidential race. And INEC has pretty much giving an inclination to the candidates and those who might be on the ballot for that election. Leading in that list is the candidate of the APC and the president, the incumbent president candidate of the APC for the presidential 2023 election, President Bola Tinubu, Atiku Abubakar of the ADC. The name that was confirmed for the PDP is that of the Wike-led PDP, and the SDP presidential candidate, Omoyele Sowore of the AAC, and a long list of others, making the 19 presidential candidates confirmed for this election. There are 16 men, 3 women that may be in that race. Let's take this conversation forward. I'm being joined by Professor Anthony Kila, who is a jurist, political economist, and strategist whose work explores leadership democratic governance, institutional design, and the political economy of development, with a particular focus on Commonwealth countries and Africa's place in the changing global order. He's Eugene Moned, Professor of Strategy and Development at the Commonwealth Institute of Advanced and Professional Studies. He's live for us in our Lagos studio. Thank you so much, Prof, for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me. Good evening.
Good evening. You are one of the G100, those who are asking that opposition need a united, one single front for that election. What is the motive behind this position that a couple of you have come together to push forward?
Well, thank you for the question. The idea is this. For you to have good governance, you need a good government in place, but you also need a vibrant opposition. The reason why you need these two things is that you need somebody to govern well, but you need ideas to compete so that one will sharpen the other and you get a better system. Where you do not have these two things, what you have is an imbalanced system that can lead to chaos. And as we said in the document, and I repeat it, the interest, my personal interest, goes beyond a side. It's not a partisan thing. It is an institutional need for us to have a system that has a viable government and a vibrant opposition. Anything short of that is a travesty of democracy. To that extent, we think it is important that people come together and work. You say there are 19 parties and 19 candidates. I do not believe Nigerian problems have 19 solutions. At most, they have 2 or 3, if they're realistic solutions. So I think people should come together and be able to sacrifice their ambition, elevate their vision, and work together in the name of the Republic.
Constitutional right of anyone to have the ambition to want to be president of Nigeria, and the same constitutional right, the principle of franchise, for you to be able to allow anyone to also cast their ballot for whoever they want. So if you are asking that people should coalesce, there are those who will say maybe you're asking other people to jettison their own idea. What if they don't agree on the concept? Because I see in the communique and in the statement released by the G100 that there must be a unification of idea, unification of candidate, unification of ambition. The question is, who gives? What gives?
Well, in this case, you're very right. I mean, we can only persuade. We can't force anybody to do it. But I want to show you that we're going to be very strong, very robust in our persuasion, in our moral persuasion, to make sure. Because some of us in this country believe that there are too many people who are putting ambition over vision, who are putting their desire to be in government over principle. And I think by so doing, they're abusing what you call their right. It is a right, yes. They have the right to be on the ballot, their franchise. I think people are abusing it. And some people are playing with it, and it makes no sense. There are people who do not hold anything sacred anymore. Not their political party, not the Republic, not the manifestos, not the desire of the people. And I think this is very important. I believe, and I think many of my colleagues agree with me, that the first step for leadership, if you're leading with the Commonwealth, if you're dealing with the Republic, is to be able to think of vision and sacrifice. There are today too many Nigerian leaders who...
Prof, if I may jump in.
Yes,
it does look like it has come to a point where, yes, there is a ruling party, a governing party in power, and it does look like there's a realization that without the coming together of the opposition, it's almost impossible to defeat the incumbent, who happens to be a man that would also be on the ballot. Is that the sense of what the G100 is thinking?
No, not at all. I'm sure some people think that, but not the person you have in front of you. I believe that even with coalition, if the incumbent has enough better ideas and enough vote, it will still win. That's not the point. The point is, at the moment, and I want our viewers to look at me, to think of what we're talking about. At the moment, we do not have competing ideas. They're fractionalized. And because I studied this thing, and I want our viewers again to think about it. If you think about the streets in your cities, you see one poster of one party. The rest you do not see. It tends to be everywhere you go is one party dominating. That is not good for democracy, because what we see from people moving from parties to the other, what we see from the prominence of one party, you would think that in the country, 70 to 80 or even 90% are on one side. It is not true. If we do not allow a viable opposition to be a platform for people to express their dissent and to have a peaceful, competitive engagement of ideas, the risk is violence. The risk is lack of legitimacy for whoever wins. The risk is that people would think that there was no competition and there was no need to compete. You see, at the moment, if you have even people who are going to vote the ruling party, even members of the ruling party, should be very concerned, because a victory that stems out of a so-called one-party state is not a good victory. If you watch a football match, even if you're supporting your team, and the other side is not present, you might enjoy the victory, but if you are beyond just a supporter, you will know there's something wrong in that match. And this is what I have to say. You see, if you're a supporter of the ruling party or a follower, one of the leaders of the ruling party, if that is all you are, then you won't mind the situation. But if you're a citizen or a scholar, if you're somebody who is interested in the institution, you will know that there's something wrong with this kind of situation. And I must say this clearly, this is less about the government of the day. It's more about the opposition, that they need to get their acts together.
All right, Prof, let me give you an idea of what we're talking about, and let me take our viewers through a few analyses that I want to make on the program tonight, from what we know now as of what INEC has released as the official details of those who are going to be on the ballot. And so let's bring back the list of those who are going to be on the ballot. So you have, at a glance, total presidential candidates, 19 of them, political parties represented 19, male candidates 16, female candidates only 3 of them. And there are names that are now recurring, at least from 2019 to 2023 to 2027. Bola Tinubu, Atiku Abubakar, Peter Obi, Omoyele Sowore, Donald Duke is never alien to the race. You look at it, Seyi Makinde, number 18 on that list, is also a very strong candidate to look out for in this race. Someone like the Zeni Labour Party candidate, Dan Onyanwu, is also one that is not alien to the race. SDP candidate, who is Mr. Adebayo Adewale, is not also alien to this kind of race. But let's look at what the analysis tonight is going to be about. Let's make sense of what happened in 2023. And there are those who are of the opinion that historical figures and the mathematics of election result figures matter in an election, especially when you are looking forward to the future. What exactly happened in 2023? Let me give our viewers an understanding of what really happened. In 2023, this is the breakdown of the votes, APC versus the top 3 opposition candidates. And this is what happened. APC of Bola Tinubu had 8,794,726 votes that APC garnered. Atiku Abubakar came second with 6,984,520 votes. Peter Obi came third with 6,101,000 votes, 533. While Robbie Kwankwanso had 1,496,687. The difference in the combined opposition is 5,788,014 votes. And I will make sense of what this means. If you flip to this to the other slide, so versus the top 3 candidates versus the APC. If you put all of the figures together, the difference that you will get ahead of the candidate of the APC is what is over 5 million votes. Now, look at how they emerged. Tinubu of the APC emerging ahead of Atiku Abubakar, and this is how they stood, the top 5 candidates in the race. Sowore coming 5th in that election. Flip the page and let us see what these figures mean ultimately for an understanding. Tinubu of the APCs versus combined opposition. Tinubu had 8,794,000 votes, meaning that he had 36.61% of the entire vote. The combined opposition had 4,587,740 votes, which is 60.70% of the entire vote cast. The difference is that there is a 5 million plus votes ahead if you compare Tinubu versus the combined opposition. So Tinubu won 20 states plus the FCT. 11 states was won by the combined opposition. If you look at all of what I've shown you, Prof, versus what Tinubu got and what opposition got, you see that the combined votes won by combined opposition is 11 versus Tinubu winning in 20 and Kwankwaso winning 1. So Peter Obi, Atiku Abubakar won in 11, Kwankwaso won in 1, Tinubu won in 20 plus the FCT. If you flip the page, let me show further. What is 2023 figures mean to altogether for making sense of what the figures is all about? Now, if you look at it, breaking it down, state by state and regional analysis, Tinubu winning 36%, Atiku winning 29%, Peter Obi winning 25%, Kwankwaso winning 6%, and Omoyele Sowore winning less than 1%. All remaining candidates collectively put fewer than 650,000 votes combined. But if you look at it, how did they stand in terms of where they stand on the Nigerian map? This is it. So you can see it based on color code. Bola Tinubu, all the states that he won. Atiku Abubakar, all the states that he won. Robbie Kwankwaso winning in Kano. And Atiku Abubakar winning in 5 states, Peter Obi winning in 5 states. And you can see Peter Obi largely winning in most part of the southeast region and Akwa Ibom. And you see that Atiku Abubakar, of course, Peter Obi winning also in Lagos. Atiku Abubakar winning in most predominantly PDP states and some parts of the south west. So if you flip the page now, let's make a comparison in what this means altogether. At the end of the day, it means that Tinubu alone holds a very strong positioning based on 2023 election. And the opposition coming together might be stronger if this pattern continues. It shows that Tinubu might show a very stronger or strong showing. And at the end of the day, opposition will still maintain what, if the pattern historically is maintained, we might get similar to what we have seen. So, Prof, based on this, what are your own permutations?
Well, there are 3 things that needs to be said. Number one is that what you say is right because you're doing numbers. So, it will be very difficult to argue with you. You're showing pure facts. Everything you say is true. But I think we need to consider intellectually and know that fact for fact, factually, some of the people that help Tinubu get that vote, some of the people that help Atiku and Obi get their vote are not with Obi and Atiku again. Some of them are not with Tinubu again. Actually, Tinubu's ones are with him. It's the one with Obi and Atiku that have left him for Tinubu. While those figures are true, they're not static. Anything might still happen. So it's very important to think that way. It's encouraging for people who want opposition to get together for the purpose of result of defeating Tinubu. If that is their main goal, that is an encouraging figure. But for some of us, the process matters than the outcome. In democracy, in governance, it is the way things are done that shapes tomorrow. If opposition is in disarray, a government becomes so strong that it might fall in hubris. A government that does not fear opposition will not fear the people. A government that is so sure of winning will not act very well, will not feel responsible. But by the same token, the opposition needs to do its job. Just because, as you rightly point out, Shehu Okinbaloye, that individuals have the right of franchise, they can be on the ballot. Just because you have the right to be on the ballot does not mean you don't have to be responsible. If you really want to lead, you need to know that we need to think of a system where ideas compete and ambitions serve. At the moment, I suspect that platforms serve and ambitions override. So your figures are right. What you're saying is right. I am personally more interested in the process. I'm interested in a situation where ideas compete. We ask ourselves, they say, do the coastal roll or not do the coastal roll. I'd like to see Party A says yes, Party A says B, Party B says no. I'd like to see for every matter, we have 2 or 3 simplified positions so that individuals, citizens, and consumers can make informed decisions. Not just vaguely that I'm for this person, I'm for that person. I would like a matured situation that is based on idea. And the way to do that is to have a consolidated front where people can rub minds, sharpen each other, so that the whole republic can benefit from a strong government and a strong opposition. My point is, at the moment, we do not have that. I'm sure I'm not very political about this, but to be honest with you, I'm less interested in the outcome than the process, because you see, it is a process that guarantees transparency, accountability, fairness, lack of abuse. If we limit it to just the outcome, then it won't matter. Everything goes. That is why I want men and women of conscience, of vision, with clarity of mind, and perhaps the courage of voice, to look around themselves and say, regardless of who is going to win, regardless of who am I going to vote for, is this democracy going the right way? The president says that, and I understand him, the president says it is not his duty to help opposition. Dear Mr. President, I disagree with you. I think it's the duty of a leader of the democratic system to ensure that opposition party have a viable platform, and then you defeat them on that noble, rigorous competition.
Prof, many thanks for your thoughts tonight, and I wish the thought and the wishes of the G100 resounding in the ears of the Nigerian people, and we can have a very strong democratic process and a strong opposition in Nigeria. Prof, thanks so much indeed for your time tonight.
Thank you for having me. Thank you very much.
We'll take a break, everyone, but when we return, I'll be speaking with one of the people whose names have now been displayed by INEC. Is one of the leading presidential candidates, Prince Adewale Adebayo, will be speaking with us. What does this mean? Is it the end of the SDP internal crisis? What does the 19-member list in the race of presidential election of 2027 mean for Nigerians? We'll be right back after this break, everyone. Thanks so much, everyone, for staying with us on the program tonight. Let's get the conversation forward. And we're being joined from our Abuja, from our Lagos studio by Prince Adewale Adebayo, the SDP presidential candidate. Thanks so much indeed for your time tonight.
Good evening, Shehu. May God bless Nigeria.
Amen. Give us your immediate reaction to the list as released by INEC. Your name is on it. It does look like the dust is settled, especially with regards to your party's internal crisis and leadership issues.
Well, INEC is doing its statutory duty. INEC is not doing anyone a favor. The candidates had been elected by their own parties. The job of INEC is to ensure that the political parties submit these names and collates these names and sends the information to the general public. So it's not like we are looking for employment from INEC. INEC is our servant. It's working for the public. INEC is just like a post office. The real people who are to evaluate the candidates are the electorate. The role of INEC is to collect this information, correct or incorrect, complete or incomplete, accurate or inaccurate. It's not INEC's job to vet the information. INEC's role is to take this information as submitted by the political parties and the candidates to the electorate and to the public. So it's now open to the public to vet and see that the claims made by the candidates are correct. And where those claims are not correct, to take necessary action to challenge such candidates. That's the whole idea.
But I'm asking, your announcement or the publication or the publishing your name as the presidential candidate of the SDP, what does this mean for you, especially in the light of the crises within your party?
There are no crises in my party. It means that we have managed not to be distracted by attempts to put problems in our party. We've had our convention. It was covered by channels and other TV stations, and we had no issues. So we were not expecting any problem. So it's like a normal, regular day for us. We were not in doubt as to our candidates. And you have to recall that it's not only the presidential candidate that was displayed, the vice presidential candidate was also displayed, and 109 senatorial candidates and 360 House of Representative candidates are also displayed. So it is not an issue at all. I know different political parties had instances where external forces, or in some cases, disgruntled internal forces in some parties, try to derail the nomination processes. But I think most political parties overcame them. In the case of the outgoing political party, APC, they had their own issues of their leaders trying to change a winner to loser, a loser to winner, and things like that. So it is a normal process that when people are competing, contesting for just small or narrow opportunities, that genuinely competitive people will come and fight, and others whose job or pastime is to cause distraction will also take advantage. But what we need to emphasize is not to congratulate candidates. It is to find a government that works for the Nigerian people, so that the conversation around this election season are directly related to the developmental challenges around which we want to form government, so that we don't now discuss personality, discuss past sagas and who defeated who. We actually look at the issue of poverty, insecurity, bad governance, total lack of governance, as in the case of the outgoing administration, and so many other economic problems, international problems that we need to deal with. And that those are the things that I think should occupy the next 6 months that we have before the Nigerian electorate will have to go and elect a new government. We need to sound the right issues. Otherwise, it will become another enlarged version of Big Brother Africa, where we'll be discussing personality and their idiosyncrasies. Whereas we need to discuss the country, the state of development, the tools and resources available to us as a people, the kind of government we form wrongly, the kind of government we need to form rightly, and who should be in charge, who should be in front, who should cooperate. Those are the things which make people like us to leave our regular job and come to this business.
Yeah. Prince Adebayo, you are on the ballot, and it does look like you are now going to be up against very familiar foes, those whom you ran against in 2023. What do you think will be different in the 2027 race for you?
In what I want, the major difference I want, and I think Nigerians want it. In 2023, I contested against INEC. INEC was the opponent. Because I listened to you in your introduction, calling figures. You said, oh, it's like you allow a bank robber to count the money he stole from the bank, and you say that's his profit. You are legitimizing the robbery. So what happened in 2023 was not good at all. All those numbers are fake. Of course, there are some statistical errors in the presentation that your producer produced for you, but that's not the major issue. The major issue was that the whole thing was a charade, was fake. So what are the difference I want now? Hopefully, I pray every day for Professor Mukwiton and his fellow commissioners and other staff and principal officers that this time around, no candidate should see INEC as an enemy. And I also pray for IGP Disu and the rest of the police officers and men and women that no candidate should see the police as an enemy. So if it is candidate versus candidate, then we are ready. But there is no candidate who should be unfortunate enough to be running against INEC, like we were running against INEC in 2023. And that is what we need to change. And I pray that we pay attention to that and will become serious. To run for an election is like to write an exam. Your score should reflect your effort. And that is what we cannot
Prince Adebayo, let me ask you, there are a group of Nigerians, eminent Nigerians, who have come together, the G100, asking that the opposition should come together. If part of the agenda is to defeat Bola Tinubu and the APC, if the argument is that what we are presently getting under the ruling government is not satisfactory according to them, that the opposition should come together, there must be a coalition. And coalescing to defeat or to remove Bola Tinubu and the APC out of power means that if you look at the historical figures, you need to have a change in strategy. Are you willing to join on a coalition race? Are you willing to jettison your own ambition, as they say, that there must be a jettisoning of genuine commitment to the general idea of defeating Bola Tinubu and the APC and wanting a better Nigeria through an alternative, an optional means of what we have today? Are you willing to join in this idea of coalition?
Okay, let me get it clear. Many of our friends who are in this G100 or G100, including your immediate guest before me, Professor Killer, they are mostly our people, the people we know very well. And I sympathize with their point of view, because their point of view is that the opposition should come together. And their point of view is a subset of my own point of view. My point of view is not that the opposition should come together only, that all Nigerians should come together, not just the opposition. Because even the people who might be members of the APC, they know now that the APC itself has been made irrelevant and that they are facing a system of one-man rule. Many of the National Assembly members who were sitting inside and saying, when we were being tear gassed a few months ago, when we were passing the obnoxious Electoral Act, most of which, predictably now, the courts are knocking the provisions out one by one. Now, they have been robbed of their own democratic rights too. Many of them now can't come back because they are not in the book of life that President Tinubu is keeping to himself. He has a book of life. If your name is on it, you will win your primaries. If your name is not on that book of life, doesn't matter how popular you are with your people. Even if you won in the primaries, they will remove your name and put somebody whose name is the book of life there. So all of us now need to come together. And my objective is not about defeating President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. To be honest, President Tinubu has defeated himself. Because you cannot fail to defeat yourself as a government if the collective summary of your service is that you have defeated the purpose of government. So President Tinubu, in his 3 years plus, has defeated the essence of government, defeated the purpose of government, defeated the essence of the republic, and he has become a one-man character with a few audience of his own that are following him up and down. So as a result, President Tinubu's government is an outgoing administration. They are going. That's not the issue. I can tell you, my advice to them is, even if they can't get anything right, they should get people to start preparing handover notes, so that at least the mess that we are witnessing can quickly be remedied by the time they leave. So it's not a question of whether they are going to go. They will go. So the issue now...
Let me jump in quickly, quickly. You are saying that you are very confident in you saying that President Bola Tinubu is not going to return. That's your permutation. And may not be surprised because you are going to be on the ballot against him in 2027 as you were in 2023. But there are those who say, and the figures as we presented earlier, and I want to apologize for some of the clerical errors, which is going to be corrected. I'll do a proper presentation because there are a few design errors that have missed the colors and the design, which has misrepresented a few things. That's why I'm not going to bring it up again. But which fundamentally, the figures
and also some
wrong,
numbers,
some of the representation,
also some numbers as to who came after this and that. Yes,
yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah, so that, apologies for that. That's going to be corrected. Is in the heat of the moment for the designer. But let me ask you. You look at a figure, combined figure, and the sense we're trying to portray to our viewers tonight is that if you take on one hand what Bola Tinubu garnered in 2023, and on the other hand, what the opposition, especially the top 5, garnered, it shows that the opposition coming together can defeat Bola Tinubu with historical figures of 2023 election. But if they do not come together with the traction Bola Tinubu got in 2023, winning the election, and the fact that they've got more state and political structure on their hand, it does look that there are those who fear and argue that Bola Tinubu is going to win again. And that's why people are asking for a coalition. But see what Bishop Onayeka said. When the president met with the clerics, he was telling them that INEC is not biased. But Bishop Onayeka said, even with free and fair election, it doesn't look like this government is ready to leave, that they are planning to win this election at all costs. What are your views on that?
Okay, let me take you one by one. Number one, like I said earlier, anyone who is making analysis based on 2023 election is legitimizing fraud. Those numbers are the numbers declared by Professor Yakubu Mahmood. They are eminently qualified that the higher the number you get, the faster you should go to Kuje prison. Nobody should use those numbers to go to the villa and govern anybody, because you can't govern out of fraud and out of manipulation. So we cannot normalize the number. So, and the analysis of it based on that fraudulent foundation, numbers that don't exist, that you're just cooking up, votes that were purchased with money and all of that, buying votes and all of that, those are not the things that our forefathers wanted us to come and do and call elections. So I won't use those numbers. Apart from that, second stage analysis is that it doesn't matter whether somebody is in different political party or the other. They don't necessarily become opposition. People say if Kwankwaso had combined with Obi and Obi had combined with Atiku, why? Why would Kwankwaso not combine with Tinubu more? If his idea was closer to Tinubu. So being opposition in 2023, none of us, the presidential candidate, was in government. President Tinubu came from the ruling party, APC, but he didn't necessarily enjoy the full support, the full suit of support of the APC. Maybe Vice President Atiku Abubakar may have even enjoyed the APC leadership support more than President Tinubu himself did. So none of this analysis being done by the media now is taking account. They are talking as if these elections took place 40 years ago. So there was no defined opposition. So the only issue.
So now the question I'm asking you, Prince Adebayo, is what the cardinal said. He said, even if we have a free and fair election, the votes of the people may not count because this government is trying to win by all means. Although the presidency and those who speak for the president had come out to debunk that sentiment, or perhaps everything that was said where the cardinal was present. But whatever that the cardinal said, what do you make of it? That even if, according to him, the votes of the people may not come because this government is trying to win by all means, does this worry you?
It's been worrying me for some time. His Eminence, Cardinal Onayeka, is saying things which we, the laymen, had been saying for some time. Which is that, and I give an analysis even during the Ramadan period when the political parties honor the invitation of the president. The president does not see himself as head of state when it comes to this election matter. He sees himself as a wrestler who is ready to wrestle in the mud. Because I'm not going to say I am head of state and I want to be delicate about it and you guys are going to come and defeat me. So that is the attitude of the president. Now, the issue is that the president is not even supposed to speak for INEC because INEC is supposed to be independent of him. So it is the same thing like a player saying that the referee should not go and check VAR because the referee is a good referee. His eyes are the best. You don't say those things. What I can tell you is that there are three things we need to get clear. One is that President Tinubu is divorced from reality. You know he doesn't live in Nigeria. President Tinubu lives essentially in France and around those places. And when he's in Nigeria, he goes to the State House, Aso Rock, which is treated like a French consulate in Nigeria. So what is going on in Nigeria and all of that, it doesn't necessarily have as much information as you have. He has the facility to have it, but I don't think he cares so much about what the ordinary people are thinking about. There are two schools of thought about this election. And depending on where you stand, you are right. One, there's a school of thought that says the election can never be free and fair. The president has all the governors, has INEC sympathy, has all the money. In that case, it can't be free and fair. So if you follow that analysis, you will give up already and it won't be free and fair. But if you belong to my own school of thought, that in the presence of a determined population, in the participation of genuine candidates who have authentic programs and who are willing to take it to the people, it doesn't matter how many governors you have. It doesn't matter what I understand you had with INEC people when you appointed them. The election will become free and fair by virtue of people's participation. The greatest threat to this election is not President Tinubu and his antics. It's his choice whether he wants to be a desperate candidate or he wants to be a more nuanced or mild candidate. But if you look at the case of Goodluck Jonathan, who was being gentle about it, they got him out. So they would think, okay, maybe I will be more like those who are tough and they don't care about the rules. But all I can tell you clearly, just 1 minute conclusion.
If the opposition, okay,
just one conclusion is that in the final analysis, the greatest threat to the election is the apathy. If people develop apathy and say it's a fait accompli, there's no chance, then there's no chance. But if the people of Nigeria say, no, this is our country, you cannot turn us into Cameroon or Uganda or some other place, we are going to come out and vote, and our votes must count. There's no 10,000 President Tinubu cannot change that. I can tell you that for sure.
Well, I'm going to ask you, since the people are asking for coalition and opposition forces to come together, would you be willing to step down for a consensus opposition candidate?
It's not even in Ondo Kingdom, where I'm by blood entitled to royal position. How are you sure the kingmakers are going to choose you? So you cannot be entitled. Nobody who is running for president can feel that he's personally entitled to the seat. Every Nigerian is entitled to be president if they are interested and they have the talent. So it is a privilege to be a candidate. So it's not about personal ambition. There's nobody who is closer to the presidency than the other person. So there is I don't have any sense of entitlement. What I have is a sense of history, sense of duty, to show up, to have the best ideas, to mobilize my own fellow citizens, and to make sure that if I become president, as I pray to be, it's not by cheating, it's not by looting, it's not by bribery, it's not by grabbing, snatching, and running away with it. It is by legitimately persuading my fellow citizens and letting them know that we cannot joke with our future, and that I am running not because of myself. I'm running because of the generation that is to come. And I'm running because of the destiny, manifest destiny of Nigeria as the leader of the black race. The only country that has the highest prospect of saving the black race is Nigeria. That's why. So it's not about me at all. There's nothing about me. And there's no prophet
All
or
right.
seer that has said that I must be there by force. It is the history that is propelling my ambition.
Prince Adewale Adebayo, lawyer, entrepreneur, and the presidential candidate of the SDP, who ran in the 2023 race and now been enlisted to run also to be on the ballot in the 2027 presidential election. Many thanks, Prince Adebayo, for joining us tonight.
Thank you, and may God bless Nigeria.
Thank you so much indeed. That's our show for tonight, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm Sean Wakimale. I'll see you tomorrow, 7 p.m. God bless Nigeria.